I decided I wanted to build this one in my garage. Pretty cool bike in this box. If I can get it open. We have a brand new Trek Top Fuel Project 1 with an awesome slider fade. Yeah, check it out, box. What do you guys think of this? This thing is loud. Oh man. Oh man. That's a nice handlebar. Check that out. I'm actually really into these. It's got the bit right there that you can plug a really fancy computer mount to, which is really cool. We're building dog today, Blair. Let's get this one over to see. Blair's being extra helpful today. On this bike, we get the fat 34.9 millimeter seat post. Right now, not a lot of companies are making that size seat post. RockShox makes one. Bontrager makes one because now their bikes are that size. If you want to put a Fox post in this bike, or Fox post in this bike or something like that, you have to get a shim, which isn't a big deal. I ran that on my Top Fuel and it worked just fine, but just be aware of that. This one's all axis, so super easy to install here. Just shove it in with a little bit of carbon paste. There we go. Cool. The rest of this plastic off. That green is so intense. I think it's radioactive. Trek has these radioactive colors that are just like disgusting. I always try to get this stuff organized with the Project Ones. They ship it out with everything that's not already on the bike, kind of individually packaged like this. And it's all got barcodes on it, just a little insight into how they do it. I think they have to scan every barcode to ensure that every piece of the bike gets put in the box before it ships out of water with it. For this one, we're not going to cut it any further until the customer tells me to. This piece is really important to the RSL handlebar. It's a spacer for the carbon in there, and you got to make sure it goes the right direction. That's the part that you can swap it out. If you buy it not on a brand new bike, it'll come with one piece that you can use without the knock block. So you not have to have a knock block to use this handlebar or the XC focused handlebar, which is really cool, honestly. Like, I like that Trek's kind of looking outside of themselves. For people might just want to put that on their bike that doesn't have a knock block, and that's awesome that they let you do that. All right, so now let's get these danglers off of there. T25. Honestly, like, this bike is so easy to build, like you barely have to do anything. It's kind of funny, actually, how stupidly easy it is to build. It's just got tons and tons of batteries. I think the most batteries I've been able to get onto a bike is like 7. we're getting kind of crazy with all the batteries. I personally haven't tried the new SID yet, but I'm going to very soon. I'm excited to try it. I used to run RockShox all the time, and I had this SID black box. I think it was the XX one, whatever, with the carbon steer tube, and no matter what I did, that thing was always freaking broken. And it finally got to the point where I had to switch over to Fox because I had that stupid SID, and then I had a Gen 1 reverb. Both those things sucked so bad. And I was so desperate to use the dropper post. I would bleed the damn reverb every single day I would ride my bike because I knew that if I bled it, I would get about an hour and a half of functionality before it stopped working again. And that was good enough to get through a ride, and by the end of the ride, it would stop working. And I'd have to bleed it again for the next one. So yeah, I got fed up and switched to Fox, and then now it seems like RockShox has really gotten their parts to be better, and so I'm gonna give them another shot here. Damn, this tire lever sucks. I don't have a good one in the garage yet, so bear with me when I try to get this off. Trek uses these like, oh my god, rim strips that really bite onto the bead, and sometimes the tires are not the easiest to get off of them. On my XXX wheels, I actually took them out because they're kind of heavy, and also this happens to me every time. Trying to think if I have a better tire lever somewhere.
No, you got power
I do,
through.
right here.
Oh.
I don't know if this is better, but it's different. Let's see if this one works better. There we go. Cool. Usually whenever I do tubeless, I just do this. Dump it in. How much we got in there? 3 spoke width. That's kind of my go-to level. They gave me this whole thing, so I'm gonna dump all of it in there. Usually then I spin it up like that. And just put it back on. You never even have to take the wheel out if you don't want to. Perfect. And then I don't want to turn the compressor on tonight, so I'm just going to use a pump to air this up really quick. That's my power stance for putting on tires. So one thing that really upsets me is that we have a RockShox fork here, but they don't send out the torque caps so that you can utilize the full potential of the fork. There's no reason why this whatever disgustingly expensive bike shouldn't come with torque caps. One decision we made whenever we spec'd this bike out was to go with the Covey Pro wheels. This guy is looking to do more cross country, and I thought having a lighter wheel set just made more sense, especially with Trek's warranty. They have such a good warranty. Even if these XC wheels did end up breaking, Trek would just send out new ones, so it's kind of a no-brainer to me. The one thing that's really, really tricky with this handlebar though is making sure the handlebar is straight. There's not a really good way to see what center line is. I've tried to do this before where I take a tool and put it in the hole and then try to, it's totally crude, but if I have to change it again, I'll change it again, but definitely not as easy as it was before. And then this, I think whenever you're tightening this, it doesn't say this in the instructions or anything, or it doesn't say this on it, but you should probably tighten this kind of like one at a time like this, and then switch to the other one, just because if you look, it really bends that carbon. And I would be worried about over torquing one half of it too far to start. Now comes the easiest thing to install all the stuff on this bike. The water bottle cage. I mean, it used to be like getting a tool in there with a full suspension bike. It was really hard to get this cage on, but now you can just pull the damn door off and easy. The door feature, I know it's kind of like every bike now has it. I'm a big fan of it. I use it on my own bikes, and I definitely am somebody who wouldn't have carried an inner tube if I didn't have a door in my bike. And I have a door in my bike that I have an inner tube that I never use in there, which is great. Maybe somebody else will use it someday. There's like a lot of room in these frames too. Like, oh, cool. That's where that was. This is a shuttle guard that you can install right there if you want. If you're like doing tons of shuttling. I don't think this guy's gonna be doing that. But yeah, anyway, there's tons of space in this frame, and awesome story. My buddy who has this bike, Corbett, put his car keys in his top fuel storage door, and he didn't put it in the tool wrap that well, and the tool, or his key, ended up right here. Nothing we could do to get it out in the parking lot. We shook it upside down for like an hour, finally gave up. We ended up having to take the crank and the bottom bracket off to get his key out. That was pretty hilarious. Speaking of cranks, this is actually a new crank standard too. Whenever I got my top fuel frame in, I tried to put a XX1 crank that I had on it, and my chainring was not clearing the frame very well, and I never could understand why. And I would call Trek, and they hadn't gotten the new frames in yet, so they didn't know why either. And it's because this is a new standard. It's called CL55, I think. Basically, to fit all this big tire, wide rear triangle, everything, they had to change the width of the spindle. So the spindle's longer. It still uses a boost chainring, but you have to have the long spindle to, well, actually, does it use a boost chainring? I'm gonna check it out 1 second. It does actually still use a boost chainring, so I was right. But anyway, it was super confusing because I usually run a power meter, so I put my normal power meter on the bike, and my chainring was like basically hitting the frame, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. I was just trying to put a 34 tooth chainring on it, and finally I called SRAM and tried to get a CL55 crank, but they didn't make them yet, so I had nothing I could do. Basically, I had no way to build this bike correctly. So what I ended up doing was kind of crazy. I have the crank over here, let me show you. Here's my crank. I needed a chainring that was a straight 0 offset to pull it out away from the frame. It still wasn't right. It was very, very, very close to the frame, but it was clearing it just enough to where it was rideable. It probably wasn't good, but it's all I could do, honestly. So yeah, it was kind of a crazy situation, but super flat chainring was the solution to that. Now you can just buy the crank, because I think the new Scott Spark also uses this new standard, so seems like it's the new thing. I had these awesome battery stickers made over from the guys over at Rusk Racing Decals. These are freaking awesome. And I know the customer will want these on his batteries. You can ask us if you want these. Feel free. We got a ton of these things, and if you want to put Bicycle Station on your Axis battery, just let us know. We'll get you some stickers. Super good attention to detail too. So this one is the seat post battery. It gets 2 stickers because you can see it from either direction. The derailleur battery just gets 1. You can still use them either way, but it would look wrong. So here, let me show you. Yeah, seat post. And then the derailleur. I love how those turned out. I actually really like the rainbow cassette on this thing. It looks just as gnarly as the paint. Yeah, it's pretty much done now though. All I gotta do now is just dial in the shifting and let me know what y'all think of this thing. It's pretty sick. I'm gonna see if I might have to shorten this hose. It is a little wonky. I'll shorten it whenever I get it back to the store, but I don't really want to mess with it tonight. I've really enjoyed my Top Fuel. I recently sold mine, not because I didn't like it, but because I decided to switch all my mountain bikes to Trek's medium large size, which is something I think would fit me really well. Whenever I bought my mountain bikes, I bought all mediums. And I don't regret doing that, but I have really short legs and long arms, and so it feels kind of stupid to not be on the medium large. I always just rode a medium, so I bought another medium, and I'm gonna try out the medium large, and I think it's gonna work out great. Another thing you guys can check out is our website. We do ship product to anywhere now, at least in the US. We're pretty new to e-commerce also, so if you guys need anything, check out our website and order whatever. You can even order bikes if you want a bike, or if you're been looking for a bike, or you want a custom build or something like that. Let me know. Reach out on Instagram or anywhere. Give us a call. Hope you guys enjoyed this Top Fuel build. Blair Dog, you being helpful?